Alright, hello and welcome back to the channel, and welcome for probably the first time for many people, Devil May Cry 3. So before I get started today, I just want to thank everybody for the support on my recent videos. I've been gaining a bunch of subscribers recently relative to my channel. I just want to thank everybody for the support. It's cool to see people enjoying the videos that I make, so if you do enjoy this video, then if you're new here, then consider subscribing. I try to upload as often as I possibly can, and sometimes I even stream, so if you do see me live streaming on this YouTube channel, and you just want to hop in and chill out, then feel free to do so. It's always appreciated. Why am I playing this today? I'm playing this because the Devil May Cry anime got announced recently, the new one, and it happened a while ago, and I wanted to talk about it, but I was struggling to figure out what I wanted to play in the video that I talk about it in. Now I was considering playing DMC 5 just because I could play as Dante and that and it would be fine, but because of the time frame that the anime seemingly takes place in, I actually wanted to play DMC 3, which I feel like is a lot more fitting. I would have made this video a lot sooner, but I tried making this video a while ago, and the mod that I'm using currently, which allows for style switching on the PC version of the game. For context, if you don't know, the only version of this game that has style switching is the Switch version, which came out more recently than the regular HD collection on like the other consoles and PC. So that came out for the Switch, and it was never added retroactively to the other versions, which is kind of lame. This mod, while super cool, does not work perfectly with some sections of the game. For the most part, it works pretty well, but yeah, I would have made this video sooner, but the mod was breaking the game, causing it to crash when I would load up the game after it got updated a little while ago, which I don't even know what that update did. It did seem to do literally nothing, but it broke the mod, and every time I would select a game from the HD collection, it would load in and then it would just crash. So I thought the solution to that was to delete the game file and then uninstall the game from Steam, when all I had to actually do was downgrade the exe files from what they were to the old versions that I had before. So I deleted my save data for literally no reason because I'm an idiot. So I spent the better part of yesterday live streaming myself playing the game again, and I beat the entire game and even got all the blue orbs and secret missions and everything in one sitting. It took about like 7.5 hours, I think that stream was. So yeah, this is probably one of my favorite video games ever, if not one of my favorite Devil May Cry games. But yeah, this game definitely has issues that I feel like hold it back from being the objective best game in the series. But that's enough of that. Basically, I'm gonna talk about more Devil May Cry stuff and just other stuff while I play Bloody Palace, because it's literally just like a 1,000-floor gauntlet of enemies and bosses. So I think this game mode was first featured in Devil May Cry 2, which is actually really weird to think about, because I feel like most people associate this with like DMC 3. Yeah, it actually started in Devil May Cry 2. Also, I have the DMC 1 costume on that you get for beating the game on normal. This is his best costume. It's so good that they even put it in the Monster Hunter collab for Monster Hunter World when that happened. Also, I just realized there's no game sound because I'm an idiot and I forgot to switch it to my earbuds. So I didn't realize the first time I played this game and I tried Bloody Palace, I didn't understand what the hell I was even looking at here. Unlike DMC 4 and DMC 5, where you just go up floors linearly, after each stage you can actually select one of these 3 teleporters and they'll send you up different amounts of floors. So the water one will send you up 1 floor, the lightning one will send you up 10, and the fire one will send you up 100. So I don't know how many floors there actually are until you get to the end, but for the sake of this, I think I'm going to take the lightning one, and I want to see if I can fight any bosses. These enemies suck. But yeah, the Devil May Cry anime got announced. I think they announced it on Twitter, is where that originally got announced at a few days ago. And I remember hearing about that, and like the person who I believe also made the Castlevania anime was also interested in making a Devil May Cry one, and I remember there being an interview where he mentioned that. And I think that was mentioned around the time where either the Castlevania anime got announced or it came out or something like that. And he mentioned the DMC anime that he wanted to work on, and then like nothing about it was ever mentioned again after that. So like most people, I thought that it just was either forgotten about or canned behind the scenes, but yeah, literally a few days ago, the trailer for the anime came out, and it looks super good. Who would have saw that coming from the person who made the Castlevania anime? So, for one, I'm just surprised that it actually exists, like most people are. And, Was that the stage? That was the stage. That's hilarious. One up. But the second thing, I'm surprised at the era or the time frame that the anime is seemingly going to take place in. Now, obviously, nothing is confirmed. It was literally just a short teaser trailer showing Dante, like, you know, fighting somebody and shooting his guns and stuff and being the wacky Wahoo pizza man that we all know him as today. But I think most people are assuming that it's either a prequel to DMC3 or a prequel to DMC1. And I think most people are leaning towards a prequel to 3. So it'll be like the earliest in the timeline for DMC that anything has ever gone. And, you know, people are assuming that because, one, he looks really young in the trailer. And the interesting thing about his design is, like, it's like a mishmash of, like, every other design that he's ever had. Oh, you bitch. You know, his jacket is very DMC3. He also has like the leather strap that goes across his chest, but he also has like the leather like shoulder guards, I guess, from like DMC4, and he's wearing like the gray undershirt that he wears in DMC5, which is interesting. And there's also like aspects of his reboot design that are also there, like his amulet. It looks like the one from the DMC Devil May Cry instead of the original series. So besides his design, the only thing in that actual trailer was, I don't think there's a release date either. I think it's literally just it exists trailer. And the only other thing of note in there is that people are, this is like, I don't think people are saying this seriously, but it's kind of funny to think about. There's like a few frames of a arm off screen swiping at him with like a sword, and it's like, you know, it's super fast, and you know, it's an anime, so it's like very undetailed, and you have to like pause and go frame by frame to even see it. But yeah, people are assuming that like that blue blob smear of the sword swinging across the screen is Virgil, which would be hilarious. So one of the most important things that is shown in that trailer, which I almost forgot to mention, is that the anime itself is being supervised by Hideaki Itsuno, which, if you don't know, is basically the head lead director for the Devil May Cry series ever since 3 mainly. I mean, he worked on 2, but that was more like, he started on 2, but that was more like he was handed that project to like salvage what he could like midway through development, which is part of the reason why that game is as bad as it is, because it's like a salvage job. But 3 onwards, you know, 3, 4, and 5 are more so his, you know, where he was able to fully like realize his ideas, I guess, although maybe that's not the right way to put that. But he was in control most of the time is what I'm getting at. I think people are starting to understand, you know, with things like the One Piece live action thing that came out recently, having the original creator of whatever source material supervising is super important. Yeah, I'm very excited about that, because this is not the first time Devil May Cry has gotten an anime. It got one a really long time ago, and I don't remember who animated it. It actually looks really nice. It has a very like early 2000s anime look to it, but yeah, that anime is like, the original Devil May Cry anime is like, it's neat, but I don't think it's actually very good. In fact, I don't think he actually ever fights anybody. I might be wrong about that technically, but I remember there's some ridiculous thing that like he either doesn't fight anybody or he doesn't kill anybody. It's very weird. I love that move so much. But yeah, besides its like cool art style and some of like the neat character that they give Dante, yeah, I don't remember that anime being particularly good from what people have said about it in the past. That move is the shit. So I'm glad after all this time that Devil May Cry, which is something that I like very much, is getting another crack at an anime adaptation that is seemingly going to be much better than its first attempt. Yeah, I mentioned earlier that I streamed this run of DMC3 that I did to get like all my stuff back, and I was playing the final mission where you fight Virgil for the last time, and that, more than anything, you know, with the level and the boss fight and the music, was like, I didn't mean to do this, but it's fine. Also, yeah, if you didn't know, Dante could stop time in this game, and he never uses this ability ever again for whatever ungodly reason. But yeah, playing that last mission made me really think about the prospect of the Devil May Cry series getting the Resident Evil treatment and getting a bunch of remakes. Now granted, there are significantly less games to remake in the Devil May Cry series than there are for... You motherfucker. Than there are for Resident Evil. But I think it's very obvious that the reason Resident Evil has gotten the remakes is because Resident Evil has always been popular, just because it has like a mass normally appeal, because of, you know, zombies. Which is not a bad thing, but it's just, you know, or unfortunate that something like this, which I feel like also deserves remakes, to not only just make the game super cool, but to also fix some like gameplay issues and just maybe modernize the storytelling of older games like DMC 1 and DMC 2. Man, your entire like ground up remake for DMC 2 would be super cool. But I don't want DMC 2 to be the one that gets one exclusively just because it was the bad one. I want all of them to get it. So, but man, I would kill for the Devil May Cry series to get remakes. Maybe even up to 4. That'd be super cool for them to do. I forgot what I was talking about. I won't lie. I kind of just gamed there for a second. But yeah, I really want the DMC series at some point to get the remake treatment like Resident Evil. And I'm also very excited for the anime that got announced. Yeah, switching topics here for a second. I was talking to my brother about the Warhammer 40k Darktide like trailer that came out recently, where they're basically reworking the entire skill tree system. And, you know, all the classes are getting a bunch of new stuff. And that trailer actually made me interested in playing the game again. I played it a little bit in its beta and a little bit at launch, but I mean, that's the kind of game where you like playing it with people is obviously the most enjoyable way to play it. And I don't always play games like that, but yeah, maybe I'll play that game a little bit more once that update comes out, because yeah, all the characters, even not just the one that I play, which is the Zealot, but they all have really cool stuff. Yeah, that looks super cool, and it got me thinking. It's like there's so many games recently. I say so many, it's like 2, but it's a weird coincidence that there's a few games recently that are getting like complete overhauls to like their skill tree and the systems. Darktide is obviously getting that, and then Cyberpunk also got that recently. And it's like this specific point in the game that they felt the need to overhaul, and they both look super exciting and way different than what they originally were in their respective games. So that's always cool to see. Also, this costume gives you the Sparta DT like in DMC 1, which is super awesome. Granted, I think I like the regular DT in DMC 3 way more, just because depending on what weapon you have, it actually changes the way you look. You know, playing this game, I think this is my favorite version of Dante in the entire series. Although 5 is really close, especially with things like the Sid Devil Trigger and whatnot, and Cavalier. Cavalier is so fun to use. It's a bit brain dead, but it's still super cool. And obviously Royal Guard is like way easier to use in that game, but like the costumes and the weapons and the voice lines in this game, like I think that slightly edges it out for DMC 3 over 5, for Dante specifically anyways. God, it's so cool. I love Distorted Real Impact, which if you don't know, when you do that super uppercut move, this, and it hits, when you hit it, you activate your DT, and it makes the move hit like a bajillion times and does a shit ton of damage. It's so cool. That was a bug in this game, and then they made that a feature in the other games, I believe. It's super awesome. Oh, these enemies suck. You know, out of all the weird weapons Dante has had, so what, he has Nevin in this game, the guitar, and DMC 4 he has Lucifer, the pin needle, exploding needle thing. I don't even know how to describe that weapon. And then DMC 5 he has Cavalier Angelo, or I think it's just called Cavalier, the motorcycle, which is probably like objectively the best weapon just because it's so strong and it gives you armor, but I think Nevin is my favorite weird weapon that he's ever had. Like, again, going back to the whole thing, I think this set of weapons are my favorite that Dante has ever had. Like, how cool that is. It's so good. Like, you strum the guitar in different ways, and it, like, you make formations of bats. Look at this dumb shit. Look how dumb he looks. He's so cool. But let me see if I can get to another boss really quick before I end this video. Yeah, I'm thinking about, like, where I place all the, like, quote-unquote modern Devil May Cry games, like, in terms of which one is my favorite. And every single time I think about, you know, 3, 4, or 5, there's always, like, something that is like, oh, but I like this thing about this game, or like, I like this thing about this other game. You know, for 3, it has my favorite Dante, and it overall has my favorite, like, story. And it also has my favorite version of Virgil. Not in terms of gameplay, but just in terms of, like, I don't know, like his attitudes and his voice lines and everything, and his boss fights. And then 4 has, well, its story is not particularly great. It has Nero, which is, Nero's amazing. Just his entire different style of character in terms of gameplay and personality is awesome. And it also has the, what are they called? Not Cavalier Angelo, the, I forget what the angel enemies are called in Devil May Cry 4, but those enemies are super awesome. Their theme music and their gameplay, just fighting them is super fun. And then it also has all the additional playable characters. It has the most playable characters that any Devil May Cry game has ever had, which is crazy. You had Dante, Nero, Virgil, and then you also had Lady and Trish, which they were never playable again after that point, which kind of sucks because they were fun to play. And then DMC 5, I think DMC 5 is like the best overall like game in terms of like consistency. You know, it has an expanded version of Nero and Dante's character, and the story is for the most part, you know, finished, unlike DMC 4. It also has one of the coolest boss fights in the game with the Dante fight in the Virgil DLC. You know, DMC 4 has a Dante fight, but I mean, it's not like, it's okay, but definitely the Dante fight in Devil May Cry 5 is way better and one of the coolest moments, especially with the music. Oh, it's so good. So yeah, whenever I think about these games, it's always difficult to figure out which one is like objectively my favorite, because I like them all for different reasons. Oh yeah, this boss fight is hard as fuck, but it's also super cool. I think I skipped Cerberus somehow. Oh yeah, look at me go. If you have super huge nuts, you can kill them both at the same time, but as you can see, I did not do that. And if you kill them both relatively close to each other, you avoid this entire second phase completely, which is super neat. Oh, you bitch. Oh. There we go. That was an awkward way to end that, but it's fine. But yeah, well, with all that said and done, I think I'm going to end the video here. If you've never played a Devil May Cry game before, I would definitely recommend picking up the HD collection and at least playing 3. You know, 1 is a bit dated, but if you're, you know, if old games don't bother you all that much, then I would definitely recommend playing it, just because there's like some story stuff in there that is relatively important. But at the very least, I would definitely recommend playing 3, 4, and 5. If you've never played a Devil May Cry game before, because these games are so good. And plus, hey, maybe at some point when the anime comes out, that would also be a perfect entry point, because it seems to take place before any of the video games. So yeah, but I'm gonna go edit this. It's like 4 in the morning and I still have to go to work tomorrow. So with all that said and done, if you did enjoy this video and want to help support the channel, then subscribing to this channel would be very much appreciated. Look at Dante with the Sonic idol pose. But yeah, anyways, later.